What is going on, people of the internet? Khaotic here with a K, double R, and welcome back, or welcome if this is your first time visiting my channel and Khaotic's Collection, the series where I will be looking at any and all collectibles, as well as going over information on said collectibles, which I will be going over information first. In today's video, it will be continuation from the previous video, going over my final subcategory of coin errors. For now, we will eventually get back to coin errors when I go over proof and uncirculated coin errors in a later video, and from there we'll take a pause on errors again for me to take care of some other projects and some personal stuff in life, medical issues primarily, before I can get back to some other coin and collectibles information. When I do that stuff, I will eventually get back to coin errors. More on that near the end of the video. But today's video is just pretty much a continuation from the last video. It originally was supposed to be part of that video, which is why you're going to hear me constantly reference some stuff from that previous video as if it was, well, part of that video. It was supposed to be, but it went on for too long, and that last video, most likely by the time it's ready and up on the channel, if you're seeing this, it will most likely be around 25 to 30 minutes long. This discourse that I recorded was about a half hour long. It would have made the video an hour long, so I decided to cut it and make it its own separate video, and that's what you're going to be getting in this video today. I'm going to go over this discourse on one specific type of coin error called the Waffled coin. If you just want to hear about those other coin errors and just briefly hear about the Waffled coin, just check out the previous video. If you do want to hear more on this discourse on the Waffled coin, as well as my commentary on that discourse and coin collecting in the coin community in general, which I'm going to be doing some of that in this video, then of course feel free to keep on watching. And I thank you and appreciate your time to check out my video. Even if you don't enjoy it or learn something new, maybe this is information you already knew, I don't know. Still, thank you for checking out the video. I appreciate your time nonetheless. Once again, if you haven't seen my previous video, link will be in the description down below. If you're on YouTube and BitChute, I'm trying to work it out for Odyssey because I know they do have playlists. But if you're not on YouTube and BitChute, there will be a playlist for Khaotic's collection. I will leave a link to it in the description down below. Hopefully I remember. I've been forgetting in some video descriptions. Rumble and Odyssey. Well, Odyssey, I still got to work it out. I have yet to set up the playlist. Rumble doesn't have a playlist feature, so you're just going to have to look it up by name or check out the channel. But still, thank you for taking the time to check out my content. Nonetheless, I really do appreciate it. And I probably will say this as soon as we get into the discourse, because again, this is pre-recorded audio, and this intro is being recorded afterwards. But I will leave links in the description down below for my sources always for these videos. And I will be doing that for this discourse, as well as another coin community forum site if you want to check those out, as well as my source from the previous video. Even though we're not going to be going over it in this video, I'm still going to leave my source from the previous video as a link in the description down below if you want to check it out and check out some more subcategory of coin errors or just coin errors in general and don't want to wait for me to go over them. I will still eventually go over them when I have the time, but if you don't want to wait on me, check it out for yourself. Anyways, on to the discourse from yesterday, me. Alright guys, now I'm just going to move on to the discourse now. If you don't care to hear about the discourse, then you can pretty much move on and exit out of the video if you want to. That's it. We've went over all the errors. I just want to go over this discourse because it explains some more stuff, some information on waffled coins and just some other stuff that I want to go over when it comes to the coin collectors market in general. But yeah, if you're expecting any more errors, that's it. That was our last one. I'm just going to be going into this discourse, and after that I'm going to mention my next projects in more detail and end the video there. So if you want to sign off from here, thank you so much for watching. For those who are going to stick around, I'm going to get into the discourse, but real quickly, I record my videos in segments. Sometimes I take a break in between when I record. And let's just say, there's a certain point where some neighbors will blast their music. Usually I'm not really bothered by it. It's just so faint that it doesn't bother me or anybody else in the house, or really the rest of the neighborhood, surprisingly. But hopefully you guys won't hear nothing in the background. I tested my audio really quickly with my device. It sounded fine after editing. You probably won't even hear it like at all. You'll barely even hear my roommates next door screaming. But I don't know. Just in case you do hear something kind of faint in the background, that's what it is. My neighbors are just kind of blasting their music. They do this for some reason late at night. But again, nobody's really bothered by it. I guess our walls are just that thick that we don't really, nobody really cares on the block. I don't know why they're even blasting music late at night at almost 11 in the afternoon. But again, if you hear something faint, that's what it is. But if it's not bothering you, great. For me personally, it's a little bit distracting, but again, I can ignore it. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into this discourse. This comes from a coin community forum called, coincommunity.com/forum. If you want to check out the forum for yourself, I'll leave a link in the description down below. I'm pretty much going to read most of the information I'm going to go over from this forum. There's only like 2 pages. The second one's very short, and the second one doesn't really have a lot of information to mention anyways. So if you wanted to check out this specific discourse in of itself, only the first page is really worth reading. And again, I'm going to read it to you anyway, so it's not really that much worth checking out right now. And it's discourse that came back from all the way from 2007, back when people were just starting to get into waffled coins. I don't know if that's when the waffled coins would have first been introduced, but around 2007, as far as my knowledge goes from doing the research, this is when waffled coins started going on the coin market. But yeah, again, if you do want to check out the forum for yourself, link in the description down below. I'm actually going to leave 2 coin community forums in the description down below because I found 2 of them when looking up information about this. The other one, the discourse, wasn't that interesting. Didn't really have that much information worth going over. So I'm not going to leave a link to that discourse, just to the forum website itself. So if you want to check out either or both, go ahead. Links in the description down below. Oh, and I almost forgot. My sources will always be in the description down below as well. Anyways, why am I studying so much? On with the discourse. So starting off the conversation on waffled coins comes from a guy named Benji. Again, this comes back from 2007. So back then, people didn't really have too much information on waffled coins at the time, and given how the internet was at the time, Google wouldn't have been too much of a help. These forums would have been what people had to go off of at the time alone. Anyways, Benji says this: I received a bag of 109 waffle sacks in Washprez dollars. I don't know what that is. I did not look that up because I'm mainly trying to focus on waffle coins for this segment. That were sweepings from the U.S. Mint floor. Is there a market for these, and how are they formed? Once again, this is discourse from 2007. So at the time, there was barely a market developing for these. And, well, again, the internet wasn't as great as it is right now and available with information like it is today. So people couldn't really just Google, how does the mint waffle the coins? How do they destroy them? And even now, I don't really know exactly what that machine is because I haven't looked it up. But yeah, most likely they use a very specific separate machine, separate from the whole minting process in of itself, because the whole point of the machine is to destroy no good coins that are no good for circulation. And I can see some people probably saying, Khaotic, why would there need to be a specific separate market just for waffled coins? Isn't it considered an error? Wouldn't it just be part of the error coin market, or just a coin market in general? Well, no, but actually yes. Ish. It's complicated because, again, they do this on purpose. This isn't a mistake on behalf of employees or the machine's part of the minting process. This happens after they get the defective coins out of the process and destroy it on purpose. So technically this isn't an error, but it is sold via the error market. Though I guess it's kind of technically its own separate market, even though it'll go on the same auctions as error coins too. Next person, Ellie Kitty, I don't know. L Kitty replies with this. Well, from what knowledge I have on the topic, again, not too much knowledge was available at the time. A waffle coin is that doesn't meet standards of the mint and is put through a machine that waffles them. The damage is done purposefully, makes the coins unable to circulate, and mentions that there's a small market for them on eBay. Currently, right now, if you check on eBay for waffled coins, there is a medium-sized market now. This was back in 2007, but as of today in 2022, going on to 2023, the waffle coin market is still up, available and healthy, and waffle coins are actually going for a pretty good buck. So if you have one of these and you want to sell it on eBay, you could get a good price for it. The more detail it has, even for it being waffled, the more money you could probably get for it. Because if it's just a blank, not to say that there aren't people out there who want waffled blank planchets, but the more information that it has, the more valuable it may be. Because, well, blanks are just blanks. People still want them, but they're still blanks. There's nothing much to go off of to identify them from any other blank or waffled blank. Coppercoin replies, actually, waffled coins come from batches where serious errors were found, as I mentioned. So they decided to destroy the whole lot instead of picking through them to weed out the few errors. It's the mint's way of yanking errors before they make it out to the collectors. But it backfired on them because people will buy anything, even scrap metal, that the mint purposefully defaced. In a previous video, I mentioned an error called coin fragments, struck coin fragments. It's literally just broken planchets and scrap metal that somehow still got into the minting process and got struck front and back. It cannot be used as circulated currency whatsoever. It's literally nothing but scrap junk, and people still collect it. Here's a type of coin where they destroy it on purpose because it was either just scrap junk or it was defaced too much to be used as circulated currency. It might as well just be scrap junk. So they literally just scrap it and recycle the junk to use it as more material. But as Copper Coins says here, people will collect anything. It doesn't matter if it comes out of the mint, if it happens on mint grounds, people will collect it. They will want it. Copper Coin then adds, this was actually a reply to somebody else, but he adds this. I appreciate the comment, but the point wasn't to knock people who buy waffled coins. The point was to illustrate that the mint, even in their undying effort to kill the error markets, unknowingly created yet another market in trying to get rid of the first market. Officially, the mint doesn't make mistakes. Errors don't exist. So they kill the errors and it creates a market. I think it's funny. Oh, and having a waffle coin would be cool, but I see no long-term escalation of the value in them. I find that hilarious after just checking eBay. Buy one cheap, have it to enjoy, but don't go crazy spending a fortune on them. I highly doubt there's much beyond a very shallow market for them, and I highly doubt that they will become valuable like the eras that they would have been. Oh, dear summer child, you were so naive. One more reminder, this was Discourse back in 2007. They would have been cheap, they would have been abundant, they would have been very readily available, I guess, in the coin markets. It was a separate market for waffled coins that was just developing. Now, today, it's still a thing, and they actually go for a good, pretty buck. Anywhere from $40 to $100 to maybe even $200. So, I could definitely say this. That comment did not age well. At least the bottom half of it. I agree with the top half. He's definitely right. But the bottom comments did not age well. Oof. My guy, you should have saved some until the year 2020. Anyways, I know it's 2022, but still. Moving on. Oh, right, and I wanted to point out how he mentions in their undying efforts to kill off the era market, they unknowingly created yet another market. See, when it comes to coin collectors and era coins, the Mint doesn't have a problem per se with people collecting era coins. They're actually fine with it. Even on their website, they actually provide information on how to go about collecting era coins, what to look for, where to get started. It's one of the very first sources I went over when getting into Khaotic's collection. However, they would prefer, instead of collecting messed up circulated currency, defective circulated currency, they want people to collect their uncirculated and proof coins, metals, and bullions, which coin collectors do still do that. They just also like to collect era coins as well. I mean, there probably are some out there that only like era coins, and maybe some that only like proof and uncirculated coins. But there are the collectors out there that will collect both. They'll collect the era circulated currency. They'll collect the variety coins. They'll collect the proof coins, the era proof coins, the uncirculated and era uncirculated coins, the bullions, the metals. They will go the full 9 yards. I don't think anybody's going to stop collecting what the Mint produces anytime soon, whether it's on purpose or by accident. Literally anything the Mint produces, people want to collect. Even though some of it's meant to be used for investment or just actual currency, or just be junk and recycled, people want it. They'll buy it. So I'm not sure why the Mint is so worried about stopping the era coin market when people will still want their proof and uncirculated coins regardless, and their metals regardless, and their bullions regardless. I've been seeing a lot of coin tubers who are going through circulated coin eras mentioning, get into uncirculated and proof coins and bullions. You can save that in a safe and invest, or you can buy one that's old for a few $100 from the Mint or a bank, and you can individually sell that uncirculated proof coin, that uncirculated bullion for thousands. Like, they'll still take that. So I kind of don't understand why they want to kill the era market so badly. The proof market doesn't seem to be going anywhere. The uncirculated coin market doesn't seem to be going anywhere. The metal market not going anywhere. A buddy of mine recently, as a few months ago, bought himself a proof coin to invest in. Unfortunately, he made an unfortunate mistake by touching it with his bare hands. Note to all of those out there who want to get into proof and uncirculated coins, what makes them valuable, not only for the fact that a lot of them are unique coins, but it's the fact that they're so polished that they almost got a chromium shine to it. Well, at least the proof coins do. The uncirculated coins are just very polished up, not to the point of, a chromium mirror. But that's kind of part of their thing, is being in such great condition. By just touching it and leaving his fingerprints on it, he decreased the value of his proof coin. If you really want to touch a proof coin that badly, then you gotta put gloves on. Put something as thin as a condom. Are condoms thin? I never really been in a situation where I need to use one. But I mean, don't touch it with your bare hands. Don't do that. You're gonna devalue that coin if you do that. You could wipe away the fingerprints, but, well, what I understand when it comes to my research, cleaning your coins, no matter what, is a no-no. But polishing is an exception. So I don't know if you can technically polish away your fingerprint and it doesn't really count as quote-unquote cleaning it. I think you would really have to ask an expert about that. I'm not an expert. At most, I'm an amateur. But you can polish your coins. So he could still get rid of the smudge. But even then, an expert would probably still be able to tell after analyzing it really good. And regardless, the coin was already devalued by being touched. It could still increase in value over time due to its uniqueness, rarity, its weight and its metal, yada yada, for its condition, even with the smudge, even if you was to polish it. But it still wouldn't be worth as much as it would have been had he simply just not touched it. When you get these, they come in these coin slabs that you can open up and remove it from. I guess if you wanted to move it to a new coin slab in case that one breaks, makes sense. But do not touch it with your bare hands. Uncirculated coins, proof coins, do not touch it with your bare hands. Metals, I think the same goes for them. Bullions, it doesn't really matter. They're made of gold and silver, so it's you don't really got to worry about that shit degrading. But proof and uncirculated coins, don't touch it with your bare hands. And I think the same goes for mint metals as well. Back on with the discourse. That was a lot to go over, but I just wanted to mention that because you'll hear a lot when it comes to these coin forums how the mint wants to kill off the era community. I mean, not the era community, the era coin market. I don't know why. They don't have a problem with people collecting era coins. People will still collect that other stuff too. But for some reason, they just really want to kill off the era market. And in the process, they created another one. Copper coins once again adds more to the discussion. This was once again a reply, but he says this: they recognize waffle coins as an error because they frankly don't have a category in their system for scrap metal. There is a market for them, but you have to watch for them to come up at a good price. You will eventually find one at a decent price if you study them long enough. My belief stands, however, that the market for them is quite shallow and has little chance of moving up, especially if they continue the practice, forever making pieces more and more available. There's not really too much available on eBay. I know I've mentioned Mercari earlier. I have not checked Mercari. There's not a lot, so it's not like an abundance making the price very low and making them very cheap. For what's available, there is somewhat of a scarcity. And that's why some of them are going for around $40 to $100 to $200. Once again, that comment didn't age well. And again, at the time, he's right. They most likely wouldn't have had a category for this type of quote-unquote era. And that's why I say technically it's kind of considered an era as part of the era market. But when you really look at the process, they do it on purpose. It's not an era. They try to destroy the original era coin, just turning it into scrap metal. But it's not the only time that people collected scrap metal. That came out of the mint. Again, coin fragments, or just scrap metal that got struck. That one was by accident, so technically that would technically be an error, but it's not an error on the coin. It's just an error in the process. But yet people still want this chunk of scrap metal. So if you end up finding a struck chunk of scrap metal, don't make the mistake I did when I was a little kid and throw it away. It may be considered garbage by the mint, but it's not garbage to collectors. As they say, one man's trash is another man's treasure. Go get that payday. Don't throw it out. Go get that money. There's also a market for completely canceled dies, on which not a single part of the design is still there. But when I buy one, I see no point. It's a bar of steel that used to be a die. It's not a die unless it at least has some of the original designs that made a die still visible. Makes sense. I've thought about collecting dies myself, but I don't really see a purpose that much because I don't really have an interest in it, unless, of course, it's just to flip it around for profit. I probably would do that, but I would rather come up on it, like buying it for somebody in person, than rather buying it online and hoping, hanging on to it, the price will go up, maybe there's more demand for it. And just like as Coppercoin said, it would be better if it still has its designs. What a blank planchet I could do with a blank die, maybe that'll be worth more than a blank planchet, but it's still just, as he said, a rod of steel. So I don't know, interesting. But yeah, people will collect anything that comes out of the mints. And that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of the discourse. If you stuck with me through all of that and all that additional information and want to talk more about coins and whatnot in the coin market, let me know in the comment section down below. I remember somebody in this again, I said I wasn't going to go over every reply, but I remember somebody comparing waffled coins to pattern coins because it was a one-time unique thing that people got into and started collecting. Believe it or not, again, people are still collecting that like they're still collecting waffled coins. But yeah, I don't know. In one of my videos, I do go over pattern coins, but once again, I'm going to say this one last time, so I'm just nailing this point into your head. I want it to be drilled into your head. Do not think that just because it looks like trash, that it is trash. Do not throw it away because you think it isn't worth something. It's worth something to somebody, especially if you get it for little to fucking nothing for free. If you can flip something for a profit, no matter how small it is, that you got for free, that's a win. Even if it's a small win, it's a win. And hey, those small wins can add up. Eventually, sometimes you get some big wins. Do not, if it looks like it's just junk, do some research. One man's trash is another man's treasure, as they say. People still say this for a reason. Yes, that phrase may be cringe by now to some of you out there because it's said so often, but it is true. I have made this mistake twice with two different types of coin era coins that could have been worth anywhere from $100 to $2,000 fucking dollars. Do not, I repeat, do not make the same mistake as I did. Do not make the same mistake as copper coins. His comments did not age well. There is still very much a market for waffled coins, and they are going for pretty pennies. If you got something at the bottom of your pocket that just casually chills in there, or in your piggy bank, something that you got for free or copped off of somebody for real cheap, like a comic, an action figure, shit like that, look it up, do your research, go on eBay. You can flip it for more. Imagine going into your pocket, pulling out a bunch of chump change, going into your piggy bank, finding a broken piece of chunk metal and flipping it for a few $100s. just because somebody wants it that fucking bad. This is why I started Khaotic's collection. This is why I'm getting into any and all collectibles. I'm going to be honest. I have yet to make a profit, a dime, a penny yet myself. Because at this point, I'm basically just stashing everything and trying to go through it one by one. I want to go through it one by one for the channel. And I want to go through it one by one and keep records of just what I have in general. Which I got to get back to that. I've been too busy with house and my channel lately to actually do that. But my closet, which is also where I record, is also basically my safe right now, where I am storing my investments, my financial investment. They're short investments, but they will add up over time. If you think it's worth something to somebody, put it away. To go do some research, look it up. If you got something for cheap to damn near free and it's worth something to somebody and you can flip it for more than what you got it for, especially when you got it for free, you better get that payday. You better go make that money. Don't make no stupid ass decisions and be like, no, that was $2,000. Fuck. Because I made that same mistake and I still regret it to this day when I realized it doing my research. There is a collector's market out there for damn near anything. If it can be bought, sold, and traded as a collector's item, it is a collector's item. It is worth something to somebody out there. And they are willing to pay. If you can flip what you got in your pocket that was nothing more than change from a purchase you made at Family fucking Dollar for flipping around for a few hundred, for a few grand, that's a fucking dove right there. Take it. Take this knowledge. Do your own research. I definitely recommend doing your own research. And take a look at your change. Take a look at your piggy bank. Take a look in your pocket, your wallet. And I recommend doing the same with the banknotes too. Now, I personally have yet to get into banknotes, but there are other YouTubers out there that do go into banknotes. But I will have to save that information in the future. I will mention it as I go over my next future projects, which I'm going to get into now because we're practically near the end of the video. So let me just go ahead and go over that information for future projects, and I'm going to end the video there. Alright guys, so I'm going to go ahead and really quickly get into the future content to come, but first I just got to explain something real quick, because my hiatus is definitely coming sooner rather than later in a very, very inconvenient way. So if you've been with me for a while now, you may have heard me mention that I do record my videos in segments. If you've been on YouTube for a while, you know YouTubers typically do this in general. But I definitely tend to record my videos in segments more often than not. Sometimes even hours or even days apart. So I guess you can, even after sometimes editing, I'll record some more after editing a certain amount. So I guess consider this sort of after editing me doing the rest of this message and outro. But it actually took me a few days to eventually get to record this outro, because the pain in my tooth got so severe I couldn't eat, sleep, or even spit and swallow the saliva building up in my mouth, to the point where I was literally just sitting at the standing at the bathroom sink just drooling, because I could neither spit nor swallow the saliva suffocating me in my sleep. Right now the pain thankfully is just not there at all, but I'm not sure if you can tell by the way I'm talking. I still sound a little weird. This has to do with one of my gums, the latch gum, for lack of a better term to describe it, because I don't know the medical technical terminology of it. The muscle between your top and bottom jaw that allows you to open your mouth and whatnot, on the left side is still quite swollen. So I can't open my mouth all the way to eat, and it's making it a little bit of a struggle to speak right. So if I do sound a little bit weird, I apologize. And because of that reason, and eventually, hopefully, actually getting to an appointment to get this tooth pulled out, this content that I'm about to mention might not be up for like a couple of weeks once this video is up. Sooner if I'm lucky, but that's very unlikely given the circumstances. But by the time this video is out, it'll probably be a week or two, maybe 3 before I can eventually get to this content. I mean, which sucks because I had 2 other videos that I wanted to come out very soon for this October, but they're just gonna have to wait because I'm dealing with the most scariest thing you can deal with in October, a goddamn toothache, and of all things, on a cavity cratered wisdom tooth. I say cavity cratered because the whole top half of the wisdom tooth is gone, and any hole in your tooth is technically a cavity, but it's literally broken. I chipped the shit out of my wisdom tooth. Anyways, on to the content, and enough explaining my medical situation and why I'm talking like a weirdo. My content's in the come for Khaotic's collection. As I said before, I will have a video going over some previous sources and other articles that will help you out, as well as content creators that can help you out with this hobby amongst multiple platforms: BitChute, Rumble, YouTube, TikTok, and Odyssey. I will... I want to link some other stuff too that can help you out, whether they be articles and whatnot. I don't know what else I'm going to add to that. Actually, I might add a segment about 2 books that I would recommend checking out. But again, we'll save that for the video itself. But yeah, I'm going to try to go over as much information and sources as possible that can help you out with this hobby and this collector's market. The following video after that, after that, will be a video on proof and on circulated coin errors. And if it's a very short list, it will also include metal and bullion errors. If it's not a short list, or my recorded segment goes on long enough to be its own video, it'll just be its own video. Pretty much kind of like this one. It was meant to be a segment attached to my previous video, but it was long enough to be its own video, so I just decided to make it its own video. And the previous video was already the longest is. And I do hopefully eventually plan on getting into a video on why people collect coins, and by proxy banknotes as well, and anything having to do with numismatics, but primarily focusing on coins. And after that, I might do a video on why people collect VHS tapes, and by proxy other forms of retro media. I guess you can already guess, because it's retro, nostalgic, maybe somewhat historical reasons. Yes, historical reasons for a decade that for a lot wasn't too long ago, but time flies and people are collecting shit from the 60s and 50s. We're getting to the point where the 80s is becoming very retro. So, yeah, some of that stuff is becoming collector's items, if it wasn't already. And I think that's it for Khaotic's collection. I will be taking a break after this video, and when we get back, that's the content I'm going to get into. Then I'll take a break again and probably build up some videos actually looking at some collector's items, some VHS tapes, some coins, yada yada. As for other content, I was really hoping to get to this one very soon. I've been struggling to record this one because I just really couldn't get in the right groove for this video, but I want to do a video on the lightsaber from Star Wars, the general universe, and just how it works in canon and how it was made in canon, in the sense of the actual canon Star Wars universe, in the comics that is, not the films. And I don't know, it's just when talking about Star Wars and canon, it's fucking confusing. I'm just going to talk about the lightsaber between just your Star Wars Legends and just regular Star Wars media. Primarily referencing anything from the comics and the movies, of course. We're going to try to avoid any talks of canon, because that's just fucking confusing. At this point, I wish Star Wars just had a fucking multiverse, because at least you can just say everything's canon. It's a question of whether or not it's canon to the primary universe or timeline. That's pretty much how it is with DC and Marvel. Everything is canon. Technically, given the multiverse, the infinite vastness of the universe, the multiverse, sorry, anything DC and Marvel related would be canon. The games, the movies, the TV shows, animations, even fan fictions and fan-made videos. Even if they're not official. But whether or not something is canon to the primary timeline depends on what's officially made by the official creators or copyright holders, and what they decide gets to be canon or not. But yeah, we'll probably save the discussion of canonical events of a series some other time. I actually want to get into a discussion about that one day on my channel, but we'll see what happens. I'm gonna have to really, for that one, I'm definitely gonna have to write up a script and not do it right off the top of my head like I typically do my videos. But yeah, I do want to talk about the lightsaber, talk about its properties, how it works, and why, because how it works in the universe of Star Wars, we can never have one in real life that isn't just a borderline extended blowtorch flame. Or just a blowtorch. From there, I plan on eventually doing videos on going over the whole MCU Phase 4 and what I liked and disliked about it, and eventually doing specifically a video on WandaVision and Multiverse of Madness. I'm putting them together since Multiverse of Madness is technically a follow-up to WandaVision. Even though it's a fucking Doctor Strange film, don't have a problem with Wanda being in the film, and I liked her character. I enjoyed WandaVision. But she should have not been the main focus in a Doctor Strange film. I'm sorry, but that'd be like in Spider-Man. What was it? Was it Far From Home? I think it was Spider-Man Far From Home. That'd be like focusing on Iron Man within that Spider-Man film. I'm sorry, I have nothing wrong with Robert Downey Jr. having a cameo that actually, adds to the story. Not just a fucking cameo out of nowhere, but a cameo that actually adds to the story. That's great. It was good for what it was. But if we had Iron Man as one of the main focus in the MCU, in a Spider-Man movie, I'm sorry, I'm pretty sure people would be annoyed by that. Just like they were annoyed that we focused on a completely different character in a Doctor Strange film. Just saying. Don't want to ramble on too much about that because this is a chaotic collection video and I'm just going over what future content is to come. But I definitely want to get into that. And I definitely want to get into what if, or I'm probably going to touch on what if in the Phase 4 video. But I specifically want to touch on the what if episode on zombies. And of course talk about a little bit of Marvel zombies. And hopefully from there, I could slowly transition into an idea that I've been wanting to do for the longest. We'll kind of transition into a reference of it happening in a future video, which is a comparison between the MCU universe, or just I guess the Marvel universe in general, at least certain properties within the Marvel or at least MCU, and Treyarch's zombies. When I say Treyarch zombies, I mean Call of Duty zombies. And most importantly, comparing and contrasting Wanda Maximoff with Samantha Maxis. And, I don't know, from there I'll just start going into Call of Duty theories, zombie theories specifically, Marvel theories, and maybe even fan-made what-if ideas on how those two universes could cross over. Because ever since I've realized Wanda Maximoff is so similar to Samantha Maxis when watching WandaVision and then learning about her character later in comic lore videos, ever since I realized that, I'm like, oh my god. If these two franchises, these two universes were to cross over with their multiverses, especially given how the multiverse was created in the COD franchise, oh my god, the possibilities are truly endless, my guys. Like, Oh my god, you can only imagine how many properties can be sucked into this crossover just between those two franchises alone. Though a third one would have to be thrown in there to get other franchises into the mix, and that would have to be Fortnite. Why? Because it's the only franchise that I know of that actually managed to get through into the metaverse. More on that again when I do eventually do those theories in the future. It's a lot of stuff in my head that I eventually gotta organize. But that's my future content to come, both for Khaotic's collection and for just regular content. I eventually do plan on getting to Dinkale, but due to so much stuff, especially this toothache, I just couldn't. I'm not going to be able to. I probably won't be able to get it done by the end of this year, unfortunately. But yeah, that stuff is going to be what's in the come. Oh, wait a minute. I almost forgot one more video. This one is actually going to be in between the Phase 4 video and the video going over WandaVision and the Multiverse of Madness Doctor Strange film, which is a theory debunking over Kratos being black. Well, I'm thinking of calling it a debunk. I'm not sure officially if I'm going to be debunking it, but I call it a theory because people have been making guesses, but they only have one piece of evidence that doesn't really stand up too well on its own two legs. But we'll get into that when that video comes. But it's a theory that apparently the fan base, some people within the fan base of the God of War community have come up with a long time ago. And I decided to dig into it a long time ago and have pretty much been saving up that research for that specific video. And I will eventually get into it. Though, although it's a theory, it's not the type of theory you're going to find on like the God of War iceberg, if you know what icebergs are for certain medias. If you do, great. If you don't, look it up. I don't really feel like explaining it right now. But if you do feel like checking out the God of War iceberg to check out what theories are available, there are some interesting ones, but the one about Kratos being black is not on there at all, which honestly surprised me because this is honestly a theory that has existed in the community for a while and is still ongoing. So I'm definitely going to talk about that in the future, in between my video on Phase 4 and WandaVision and the Multiverse of Madness. That's always been my plan. I just forgot all about it because I've just been focusing on so much, and I already got the research saved for that stuff, and the whole Marvel stuff that's a little bit more recent, minus the comparisons and crossovers with COD Zombies. I've had that idea for a while, just like the video on the theory debunking of Kratos being black, but yeah, I've had it for a while. I just kind of forgot about it because I got caught up on other stuff. But that's what's soon to come on the channel. This doesn't include any random commentaries. I'm always going to be doing commentaries on the channel for a while. Those will be random and out of nowhere depending on the topic I feel like talking about, what happens, when it happens, yada yada. But yeah, that's what's soon to come, not including commentaries. Those are just not typically scheduled. Those are typically out of the bloom. So if you get more videos from me than expected or than I am offering an explanation like this, an end outro explanation like this, then that's simply just me doing more commentaries on topics I want to talk about. And topics are very easy to do. I talk, edit the audio, put some background gameplay, maybe in and out transition. That's it. With commentaries, there's very, very, very limited editing. If I wanted to, I could do one commentary release for every day if I wanted to. I don't, though, because I don't want to be a commentary channel. Commentaries are just one of the things I wanted to do. I don't want to be a commentary channel. I don't want to put myself in a predicament where I finally get to run my channel full time as a job, and all I'm stuck is doing is commentaries. I don't know how some people can do that. I cannot find the urge to talk about a topic every fucking day. I just couldn't. I just can't. I sometimes struggle to talk in these videos as is, and these videos go on for like 20 to 30 minutes that I've been making. So I don't know how some of these people can find a topic to talk about every single day, let alone be able to get all their thoughts out in 10 to 20 minutes. But then again, I have autism and ADHD. I struggle with a lot of shit. Yeah, that's what's to come soon. Thank you all so much for watching this video on Waffled Coin Discourse if you were interested by it. And if you are confused about the other stuff that I mentioned besides Khaotic's collection, again, on the Hyper-Khaotic channel, I do other stuff too. Khaotic's collection is not my primary content. Unless, of course, you're watching this on the Khaotic's collection channel in the future. I do plan on putting this content on its own channel by the end of this year. To which, if you are watching this video in the future, thank you. Welcome. And yeah, I do stuff on my main channel, Beyond Khaotic's collection, that has to do pretty much with whatever the fuck I want. But that's what will be available by now if this video is on its own channel. Those videos will all hopefully already be out. Go ahead and check them out. Thank you all so much for watching, and I really do appreciate you guys watching all the way to the end if you did, even if you didn't like it. I really do appreciate it, and I appreciate your time. Leave a like if you enjoyed. If not, leave a dislike and a comment telling me why. Any and all interaction is good interaction for my channel and the algorithm, and any and all criticism can help me get better. See you guys next time.